We are live. Yo, what up, world? It's your boy C's from the seedsoflife.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Fitpro Development Podcast. Today, I have a special guest, a yogi in the house. She has quite the history and longevity in the game. So looking forward to hearing from her side of her journey. And without wasting any further of your time, let's welcome Joy in the building. What's going on, Joy?
Hey, how are you?
I am well. You're new to the show, so let's introduce yourself, who you are, and where you're from, and what it is that you do.
Okay, my name is Joy Love Bernstein, and I'm a yoga instructor based here in San Antonio, Texas. I guide beginning students only to be able to adapt through the growth of their yoga practice, and that looks like private, semi-private, or mentorship.
Awesome. Awesome. So we have a mutual friend, Angela, who was part of the first episode of the show, and she gave you the hell of a recommendation. And I'm like, oh man, I got to get to know her. But let's have a public discussion and get to know who is Joy. So these are the questions that I like to ask on the show to form as like a educational, because we love stories, right? We learn through stories. So by highlighting the stories from our journey, hopefully it can create a transformational experience for any future yogi out there that has the aspirations of being a yoga instructor. So with that said, we're going to ask the first question is, tell me the story when you knew you wanted to become a yogi.
So I'm going to tell you something funny about that. I actually had no intentions on being a yoga instructor. Like none. What had happened was for a long time, I was looking for my yoga teacher. And then when I found her, all she was offering was a 9-month teacher training. And I'm like, you know what, whatever, I'm just going to sign up. I just want to immerse myself in her practice, whatever it is that she's doing. I want to eat it, whatever it is. And that's what happened. And then next thing I know, it's like 9 months later, the woman moves back to Miami. I was just like, what?
Abandoned me. Oh, she abandoned me.
She did. That was my first trigger of abandonment issues. But who's that? And then next thing I know, it just became where I still didn't want to be a teacher. I was just like, no, I'm just going to go find me another teacher. I'm just going to keep practicing. And then next thing you know, I had a client who was just like, Joy, I want to know the yoga that you do. And I'm like, no problem. Let me show you how to do this. And then next thing you know, it just became from like one displaced student to another that was just like asking me. And I was just making the time. I was just doing it just to be like, hey, community
for
service.
The love.
Yeah, for the love of it. Because I love yoga. And so I was just, sharing it. The next thing you know, it just became a whole country of followers. And I was just going around town trying to find like community centers, trying to find libraries, adult education centers. And when I moved here to Texas from New York, I actually started working at a hotel. And I just asked the manager, like, hey, can I use a conference room?
Oh, that's dope.
So they're just all like, do what you got to do, help our guests too. And so yeah, it just became that. And then, so 7 years down the line of just doing that, it wasn't until that 7th year that I said, you know what, I really like doing this. And I was just
7 years, huh?
Yeah, it took me 7 years down the line to be like, you know what, I really like this. And I was just sitting like, I'm really good at this. And in knowing what people are needing and wanting, I was just like, okay, I'm delivering. And when you're seeing people's lives change, and it's not just for the physical aspect of it, but just seeing a person feel safe enough to be themselves, that was the part right there. I was just like, if we're going to do this, that's what I want to see. I want to see that it's you showing up, not who you want me to see you show up as, but you showing up. And that was just like, okay, I'm going to start teaching and it's going to go like this.
There you go. Like you were able to build like from and fall in love with it along the process too. It's not something that just happened one day. I tend to talk to the younger coaches out there and they ask these similar questions. But what I tell them is like, yo, it's not something that happens. It's a path to discovery. You know, you got to
Yes.
be in it, like focus on the aspects of the industry that you love. And if it's for you, you know, it's something that you're going to fall in love with and discover. It's not like a lightning flash that's going to happen, right?
No, exactly. And it wasn't, you know, the thing was for me, it wasn't even a chore. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is just too much to be doing. It was just like, not a problem. Like, I love it. Let me show you this. Let me tell you about this. Let me give you some more clarity on what this is. And if there was something that I did not know or I wasn't really strong at being able to guide them, I'd be like, I got somebody for you.
There you go. So,
Happy to share.
so how long have you been on the path? How long have you been a yoga instructor?
Well, so for yoga instructor, I've actually been 11 years.
11 years. And I detect an accent. Where's that accent from?
Long Island.
Long Island. Okay. My best friend used to live in Long Island, man, but
yeah,
I spent quite some time in Hempstead, Long Island. So
yes.
11 years.
11 years.
Right? 11
yes.
years. So tell the audience, the viewers, like a piece of advice that you would have given yourself 11 or 10 years ago.
So here's the thing. Trauma. I wish somebody had told me about when you're in this field, or even as a fitness professional, no matter what kind of fitness that you're in, the trauma that people go through. It's one thing to see somebody cry, right? They're just having a moment, just something came out, reacting, crying. It's one thing to see that and be empathetic about it, right? Give them that space about it. It's another to have somebody react and attack you. And the thing is, you know, as a teacher, I was startled by that because I've never experienced somebody reacting with their traumas. And you're just sitting there like, I want to be there for you. But in reality, the best thing that you could have done was recognize what's happening and have boundaries. Like, give them the safe space, but it doesn't mean that you're a punching bag. Like, you can sit there and have empathy for somebody and what they're going through. You're not a punching bag, and it's not your responsibility.
No, that's perfect, because a lot of trainers, right, they don't understand like there's more aspects to just a training session, because it's also a therapy session for the clients as well. This is a place where they release so much of their negative energy. And sometimes if you're not aware of it, you take that negative energy home, and then it affects your day, your loved ones, and everything else. So know like that aspect of training as well, like that trauma, that you know, anger that people harness and try to take it out on the weights or in the heavy bag or in the yoga studio, like it stays there. You know, they go and they're like, oh, I got rid of it. But that energy goes somewhere. That energy doesn't stay there. It goes somewhere. And sometimes you take that energy home with you as well.
You do. You sit there and just kind of like, what was that? And what do I do with that now? You know, and sometimes if you're not prepared for it, you end up passing it along to somebody else, and you just created even more chaos, not even realizing like what is happening here. So I wish somebody had told me that a long time ago to be prepared for it and how to handle it, because I am someone where I was just like, I never want to see somebody suffer. Like, it offends me if you are suffering. Like, if somebody harmed you, it offends me. Like, who is it?
Like,
I'm about to do the whole family lineage here.
That's dope. So there's yoga teacher trainings going on all over the country, all over the world, right? There's going to be a new yoga instructor born almost every single day. So for the new yogis out there that wants a career like yours, what are some things that they should be doing right now?
One, continue with your practice, because it's wild how many people become yoga instructors, don't even practice yoga no more. And it's kind of like, you practice what you preach. You can't sit here and tell someone that they need to do these things, but yet you're not doing those things. So it just becomes like, you need to match who you say you are. The other part, it's even something that you brought up earlier, is it's important to have mentorship. Yeah. Because the thing is, you come out of this and you do not know everything. And it's sad to see a lot of great teachers end up just falling off, not doing this no more, because they never got the guidance or anyone else to help direct them, like, hey, keep going. Hey, go this route. Hey, go do this instead. This is your strength in what you're doing. Maybe look into this a little bit more. A lot of people literally come in with just ideas, but not how to execute them and keep going. Like this is some kind of, it becomes like a side hobby rather than like
the
actual thing. And then they feel discouraged because they're just like, well, I don't think anything's going to happen.
No, that is true. Like that happens in every discipline. Like also like trainers, personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, like that affects your mentality too. Like I say, if you're a personal trainer, yes, you're in the gym every day, and not getting your workouts, but you have to get your workouts in, because that's going to affect your business. Like you have to practice what it is that you're coaching. Because you're like, again, energy is constant, right? People pick up on those things. So if you're looking to develop your business, like make it a practice, even if it's just for you, you don't have clients yet, just make it a practice, make it a habit, because you have to be prepared for when your yogis or your students arrive, right?
Yes, no, who's that? You really do. And then because you get to sit there and say, I know what this is about. I know what this looks like. It looks similar to this. I know what I could do to help you get to the next place.
Yeah. And some of the pitfalls, right? Going into the next question, like you have a long career, right? And I'm sure like knowing the entrepreneurship in the fitness industry, is not all sunshine and rainbows, right? So what are some of the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome over the course of your career?
So one of them was when I'm a big girl yoga instructor. And when it comes to, the visuals of yoga, people want to see this is what a yoga body look like, not that. But the reality of it is like when it comes to yoga or anything, there's a whole bunch of bodies. It is not just this. So when I first started off, there was a teacher that I was actually already starting practicing at their studio at. And it was wild how I wanted to also use her as a mentor. And I had brought my own students to even teach at her place, because that was the thing. I was trying to bring, I had my own students and I was trying to find places for them. And it was wild how she was envious. She was just like, how is it that you're teaching the same thing as me, but yet
you have more students
coming to my class, they're going to your class. And then it just became where they did, it was okay for me to be a big girl yoga student, but not a big girl yoga teacher. And they were just, it was just like, you would think
Mean Girls,
community, it's love and light. people were cutthroat. I was just like, damn.
No, this is important, because like, I know there's a lot of like bigger like strength and conditioning coaches that teaching different things. But like, if you're a great teacher and you're still practicing, like aside from like your body type or whatever, like you should you have like a moral obligation to teach the students of the next generation, right? And if that's something that you're really good at, people really don't really care. They care about the outcomes that they truly desire at the end of the day.
No, seriously. And the funniest thing is, though, it took that experience for me to realize I never needed a yoga studio. Me as a yoga instructor, never needed to teach at a studio to even be legit. Like I can go anywhere. And that's what ended up happening. I went everywhere but the yoga studios.
Nice.
And then with people having an issue with that, I'm sitting here like, well, I have all these followers. I can't be that
bad. Right? You got to be doing something right. They got to see something in you, right?
Exactly. So people are learning. People are coming.
So this will transition to my next question. Like, tell me about your biggest wins, like over the course of your career.
You know, my biggest wins is one of them is that I never needed a yoga studio. I'm still teaching yoga without being at a yoga studio to do it. The other one is being Blasian and fat. Teaching yoga. People are sitting, you know, I'm representing like, hey, anybody can show up and do this. If this is what you love, show it. To me, we are a survival guide for somebody else's story to keep them going. So if you're not sitting there, you know, representing and sharing the knowledge that you know to help someone go to the next place, it's kind of like, you're selfish.
No, that's so true. I got a little chills. That's true. Like, you know, you're a guide for somebody like else's journey, man. Like it's sort of like a spiritual guide too, you know.
No, seriously.
Yeah, like again, you have a moral obligation. That's why I felt so compelled to create this podcast, because I'm like, yo, I have an like, because we talk, like, you know, I'm surrounded by other trainers and we have these discussions, and I'm like, people need to be like those who are seeking knowledge. Because I know when I was coming up, I was typing in the YouTube searches, like, okay, how to land your first client, like how to be a solopreneur trainer, like asking all these questions, and I'm like, can't find nothing. Right. Meanwhile, the older like head trainer has all the knowledge, all the wisdom, and I'm like, yo, it's just staying in the break room. I'm like, no, we got to get this information out there for people like me and other people like you who are going through it. Because I've seen so many people quit their job, right? They quit their job to become a trainer or a yoga instructor, and they don't have any mentor, any guidance, any wisdom, and they quit their practice and they go exactly to the things that they loathe, that they hate, right? They go back to the corporate America, and then with their tails between their legs. And I'm like, yo, there's space for all of us. We just need to create a network, a support system where we can have these conversations so that, you know, it would like benefit all of us.
Yes. And then, you know, it's sad too, because those who fall through the cracks, sometimes they become bitter about it. Like, nah, don't do that. Don't do that, Rod. It ain't going to happen. And I'm like, no, it didn't happen for you.
Yeah. You gave up too soon.
Yeah. You gave up too soon. I mean, you know, the other thing too is just like, you know, for me, like, I was able to open up a yoga studio 4 years ago. And then with COVID, I had to close it. And then I had to go pivot online, and I'm still making it.
There you go.
Can't tell me nothing.
There you go. So what's speaking of, right? What is the next level for you?
You know, so the next level for me. So right now I'm actually finishing up my year long of solitude. And I'm just, now that everyone is just now doing retreats, like I want to sit there and put people in retreats, because it's one thing to talk about it, right? And just have an hour with me, right? I want to see what a whole weekend will look like for you.
Wow.
Be in that element.
No, that is epic. No, that's great. So for those watching, those like future yogis watching, or those aspiring yogis, or even those yogis that's been on the path and they want to connect with you, how can they find you?
One, you could go to my website. So it's thatoneyogi.com, and it's yogis, YOGI, and then one, the word one, or you can go to Instagram, thatoneyogi.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to add those links down in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for blessing us with the wisdom and the story. I would love to have you more like as a correspondent, as you know, the show evolves and whatnot, because you do have a lot of wisdom, and I see a lot of similarities that we have. You know, although two different disciplines, I see a lot of similarities, because all you do is just change maybe a couple of words, and it's like my story. You know, it's epic, and I know a lot of people that's going through the same things right now.
Yes.
Awesome. So, any closing words? Anything you want to say to the audience or the viewers?
You got this. That's all I got.
You got this. I love it. You got this.
You really, if you know, I think the thing is we tend to worry and compare ourselves to things that has nothing to do with us, right? And if you focus more on you, you got this. You'll just skyrocket from here.
Boom. All right. Love it. All right, guys, Fit Pros and Yogis. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, and if you are a fitness professional and would like to share your story on this podcast, just slide in my DMs, the C's Life on Instagram and on Twitter, or even leave me a comment down in the comment box. And yeah, we'll get in touch. But till then, thank you guys for watching. Holla on the next one. Peace.